everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jola Speaks podcast. I hope you are having a wonderful day so far. And what is Jola Speaks? Just a quick recap. Jola Speaks is a 10-ish minute clip, either in the form of a vodcast or a podcast intended to equip you in your trust walk with God and myself as well, honestly. It is evolving and keeps evolving, and the current focus is our personal processes where we learn to trust God totally and submit to his will. And just a disclaimer, I am by no means an expert. Nope. I'm also in a journey with God, on my process with God, and so I am learning as you are learning every single day. I'm just grateful to be used as a vessel. Every single episode that you listen to is inspired by the Holy Spirit. So often at times I go and re-listen to the episodes to learn more about it. So let's learn together, shall we? Please spread the word, subscribe to our various podcast and platforms, and also YouTube, and also we're on social media. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all. And I hope that as you listen and learn, you will continue to even receive more clarity on your journey with God. So over the last couple of weeks, we have been discussing lessons learned from the story of Joseph in the Bible. And for today, I want to talk about consistent work ethic. And I'm going to be reading from Genesis 39. I'll read verses 2 to 6. And then I also go on to also read verses 21 to 23. And here I'm reflecting on the testimonies of Potiphar and also the prison warden on Joseph's work ethic, even when his seasons changed. So I'm going to quickly start reading now. So Genesis 39 verses 2 to 6, and I'm reading from the NIV version, and I read, "The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he had owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care, with Joseph in charge. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate." Now let's quickly scroll down to verses 21 to 23 of the same chapter. That's Genesis 39. And I quickly read. "The Lord was with him." Now this is when he was in the prison. Let me start from verses 20 instead. The tail part of verses 20. So I read, "But while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with him and gave him success in everything that he did." It's such an interesting part of the scripture. And in this passage, we explore two seasons of Joseph's life. The first season was a fruitful season. He was in Potiphar's house. Everything was going smoothly. He kept going through the ranks and became in charge of the whole household of Potiphar. The next season was the dry season, or the testing season. He was in prison, and for something that he didn't even commit, but he was in prison at that time. And one thing was consistent in both seasons of Joseph's life, both the fruitful season and the testing season, and that was his work ethic. Joseph had a consistent work ethic in both seasons. And so you see that, the testimony of Potiphar is very similar to the testimony of the prison warden. What they put under Joseph's care, they paid no attention to because the Lord gave him success in everything that he did. One thing to say here is that God gave Joseph success in what he did, which means that he did something for God to make successful. So if he just sat and did nothing, what would God really make successful? It is very easy to show up when everything is good. Like, in the fruitful season, it's fantastic. Everything is going as planned, even better than you even imagine. It's a great place. But you see, when it gets to the testing season, when things are hard, when the things that you normally do in the fruitful season are not, you're doing it, but it's not giving the same feedbacks, it's hard, right? And here in testing season, it's easy for us to look at our current situation and determine how we show up, because we think, oh, well, no one is seeing me. Why should I bother doing it? Right? But you see, Joseph showed up in both situations to the point that even both leaders had the same testimony about him. The same testimony. He didn't let his season change his attitude to work or his work ethic. It's so amazing, because let's face the facts. Joseph in the prison was a prisoner. He could have said, I'm going to be a prisoner here, full stop, and not, show up with his skills and expertise because it's in prison, right? But you see, even in prison, he was still leading. He showed up with that work ethic, and that is what even brought him out of the palace, and as we would now kind of discuss later on. I remember a point in my life, that was a couple of, I think, years ago, right, where I had a shift in season from I would call a photo season to a more of a dry season for me. Or I'll say more of a testing season for me. And I would complain and ask God why, I'm meant to be here. All those questions, kept coming through my mind. What am I learning here? What am I doing here? What is it and all that? And I used to ponder and wonder for a long time. Till one day I realized that what's being tested was not my intellectual capabilities. No. It was a test on character. Now, if you know me, I'm not a bad character, right? But God was teaching me the act of patience. God was teaching me so many things that I need to learn for the next season in life. Or like things like, will I let my frustrations affect how I show up? Will I hoard my expertise, or my skills because I don't feel like doing it because I'm not in a good place? Things like that. And I must say, it was not easy. It was not easy. And even just looking at the life of Joseph himself, right? Must have been hard. Like, he's in prison. He's not meant to be in prison because obviously someone lied on him. He could have just focused on that. But by doing that, he's missing the test. The test was not about what he knew or how he got there. It was about, character, building character for the next phase of his life, the next season. And so I thank God that I began to learn, from that process. Learn, okay, God is teaching me character. So it changed everything about the season. And it changed how I viewed everything about the season. Because before I thought, okay, maybe God said to get me to learn more, do more things, get more knowledge. But no, I had it already. What I needed was just this test on character. Do I continue to show up even when it doesn't feel good? Do I continue to, teach, let the frustrations, get to me and prevent me from showing up? Things like that. But thankfully, because I had that shift in mindset, that I asked the question, and that's so key for every season we are in. Lord, what are you teaching me? Lord, what are you teaching me? Because by me learning that, my mind shifted. I was no longer upset or wondering or confused. I was like, okay, God, here I'm learning X, Y, Z on character. Okay, I will focus on that. And so when those opportunities come to me, perhaps teach people or help people or whatever, I don't get upset because I can. I do it because I know that God is using that to teach me character or to teach me, certain things about that particular season. And so for me, thankfully I learned more about it. And also thankfully that, Joseph even learned a lot about this season, because without knowing those things, how would he have shown up? He would never have known what to do. He wouldn't have known what to do. And in fact, I want to really hone on character. What is character? Character is so important. In fact, let me go what character is. Character is the way someone thinks, feels, or behaves. someone's personality. And in many cases that changes with season, in many cases, because when someone is frustrated or angry or does not know what's happening, they act in a certain way. And in the great seasons, you act differently. But when God is teaching his character, it is so important for the next season ahead, because you need to show up in the way God is asking you to show up. In many times, in many seasons, right, God is not teaching you, especially in testing, God may not be teaching you intellect. No, he's probably character. And so one has to ask that big question: Lord, what are you teaching me here? What are you teaching me here? So let me stop here for today, so I don't take too much of your time. And I know it's almost 10 minutes now. But thank you for listening today. And I hope this blessed you. I hope this made you even think about things in a different way than you normally would. I'll continue on the second part of this episode tomorrow, where I will conclude on consistent work ethic. And I'll discuss the big questions of why God is even teaching you character in this particular phase of your life. And also even looking through the other part of the story of Joseph to understand, areas where God was even teaching Joseph character. So I'll continue from tomorrow. Thank you for listening today. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And right now, I just pray that if anybody is going through a tough season, as you may call it, or a season where you do not understand what is going on, I pray that you'll have the strength, to listen and learn from what God is teaching you. And I pray that you even remember to also ask that question: God, why or what are you teaching me in this season? In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye. And I love you.